Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to have a little important chat here and talk about some and debunk some very common intuitive eating misconceptions, things that I really wish people knew and want people to know as a non-diet dietitian myself. So we are just getting outside to stretch our legs for a little bit of a walk. Today is a gorgeous day and we are currently sliding into the winter months here. I live in Michigan, so I'm trying to soak up the last bit of the nice weather in this fall season that we have. So we are going to grab some lunch first. I'll show you what I'm making and then we will have a very important chitty chat. Okay, here is what we're working with today, my friends. So I took one of my favorite recipes, my peanut butter satay chicken, and we're gonna make it as a little bit of a handheld wrap. So usually I eat this just as a plate for dinner with some rice, but we are gonna have it for lunches just as, like I said, a nice little wrap. I'm gonna put the slaw on there. Got a little sesame oil, some lime juice and salt. You know, I thought about warming up the chicken, but to be honest, I just don't feel like it. Got some of the reserved sauce there, some crunchy peanuts, and I like extra green onion. It smells very oniony, just the way I like it. Ooh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Might be worth it to warm up the chicken next time, but I think it's still delicious cold. We're gonna add a little bit more sauce. Someone smells peanut butter. Where there's peanut butter, there is Theo. Very good. Okie dokie, friends. I'm gonna finish this. And then we are actually going to head to the office. We'll have our chit chat there. I'm gonna spend the afternoon there. Let's finish this and get on with it. All right, guys, so what I wanted to talk about today was some of the misconceptions around intuitive eating. And this is something that not only continues to get a lot of buzz, but something that I believe in as well as a non-diet dietitian. Here is the biggest thing that most people get wrong right off the bat. Intuitive eating actually isn't as it sounds. By definition, intuitive means doing something without conscious thought. And let me tell you, that is not what we're aiming for here. Intuitive eating is about being aware of your food choices. It's about thinking about why you're making them and tuning into your body's signals. That's the exact opposite of mindlessly just grabbing a snack just because it's there. I had the perfect analogy for this, a really great way to explain it. Happened to me earlier this week. Now, it was Sunday, and I really didn't feel like taking a shower. Sundays, though, are the day that I wash my hair, do a hair mask, and blow dry it, the whole shebang. Sundays get all of it. And I kept putting it off because it was just a busy day, and then early evening came, and I was like, well, I gotta shower if I'm gonna do it now because we need to take the dog for a walk soon. And even though I didn't want to shower, I knew it was the best option. I was filming some things the next day, and I didn't want to have greasy hair, and if I tried to shower in the morning, I'd feel super rushed and stressed leading into the workday, which Mondays are usually always pretty busy for me. Plus, I just knew I'd feel better getting a little fresh and clean, so I showered even though I didn't want to. Other times, that same situation might happen where I don't necessarily want to shower, and I might be like, I don't really have anything to do tomorrow, or I might not really mind being a little greasy, so I might decide not to. And that's really how we should be viewing our food choices, the same way. Some days I might be fine with having a donut for breakfast if that's what I want, and it will feel fine. Other days I might feel better and want more stable, long-lasting energy, so I might pick a bowl of oatmeal and a protein shake. Our choices ebb and flow depending on the situation, but it does take conscious thought to know what you need in the moment. Overthinking? No, but thought? Yes. Thinking these situations through, it becomes easier and more automatic the further you go on this journey, but it still takes thought. So that is sort of the biggest overarching misconception when it comes to intuitive eating, but let's get into 5 more quick ones. Intuitive eating just leads to overeating and weight gain.
This one is a big one. People often think that if you're not on a strict plan, you're just gonna eat all the things and gain a ton of weight. But the truth is, when you are actually listening to your body, you're more likely to stop eating when you're full. And the research backs this up. A study found that people who practiced intuitive eating were less likely to binge eat compared to those on restrictive diets. Now, another showed that intuitive eaters actually have stable lower BMIs and fewer issues with disordered eating. Now, intuitive eating with that weight gain, loss, and maintenance can all happen. It really depends on where your body weight is at now in relation to where it wants to be at in order to feel its best and function optimally. Some people are currently below their body's ideal weight, and some might be above. Shifting away from weight being the focus and putting the focus on to developing a sustainable style of eating and behaviors that allow your body to feel good is how you naturally find that feel good weight. And the research does support this, showing that intuitive eating is associated with healthier body weight outcomes, emphasizing that intuitive eaters tend to maintain their weight or shift towards a healthier weight without focusing on dieting or weight loss, which typically just tends to backfire in weight gain. So no, it's not about endless snacking and gaining weight, it's about shifting the focus away from weight, and as a result, you wind up with a healthier one. It's about trusting your body and finding balance. Misconception number 2. Intuitive eating totally just ignores nutrition and health. Here's another common one that people think. They think that if you are eating intuitively, that you're throwing all concern for nutrition out the window, but that is absolutely not true at all. Intuitive eating actually includes what's called gentle nutrition, which means making food choices that feel good physically and mentally. You can still be aware of nutrients in your food and what your body needs, but it's done in a way that is not obsessive. And this really goes kind of hand in hand with that shower analogy that I talked about earlier. In fact, a review found that intuitive eaters often have more balanced diets over time since they're not constantly at war with food. They tend to eat a variety of wider nutrients and nutrient-dense foods as a result of actually not having rigid rules. Now, misconception number 3. Intuitive eating is just about eating whatever you want, whenever you want. Let's clear this up. Intuitive eating does not mean constantly indulging without thinking. It's true that yes, you're allowed to enjoy all kinds of food, but the key word here is mindfulness. You're tuning in and asking yourself, am I hungry? Am I full? Does this food satisfy me? Is it enjoyable? It's not just grabbing whatever's available without thought and calling it intuitive. Intuitive eating promotes mindful eating, which actually reduces impulsive food choices. So yes, you have total freedom around food, but it's freedom with awareness and tuning into what makes you feel satisfied and good mentally and physically. Misconception number 4. Intuitive eating is not for people with health conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure. Now, this one is especially important for anyone who thinks that intuitive eating isn't for them because they have a health condition. But let me tell you, it is actually very adaptable, and if you have health concerns, intuitive eating can actually be a huge asset for you. Intuitive eating doesn't ignore your health needs. In fact, it helps you make decisions that align with your medical conditions without the guilt or restriction of traditional dieting. There's still room for gentle nutrition, you're just approaching it in a more sustainable way. And I always say that listening to our bodies includes listening to our brains and the information that it holds too, like what your body needs in order to function properly and feel its best. Making choices that align with that is absolutely intuitive. There was even a study that found that intuitive eating improved glucose regulation in people with diabetes. So yes, you can absolutely practice intuitive eating while managing your health. Alrighty, misconception number 5. Intuitive eating just lacks any structure and people need structure. A lot of people think intuitive eating is too loose to be effective or that it won't work for them because they need rules to follow. And it can kind of feel like whiplash for people, like going from so much structure of dieting to having what feels like absolutely no structure. But the thing is, I recommend structure. Most of us do need structure. And if you feel like you've tried to go about intuitive eating, but it hasn't worked, it might be due to lack of trying it with structure. Now, we want to add structure in a few ways. First, with the learning of it. We can't just necessarily hop in and start listening to our bodies. Our bodies are all kinds of wonky after dieting, and we need to go through a process of recovering them from the damage of diets and actually strengthen our hunger and fullness cues before we can reliably and accurately listen to our bodies. So that's structure number one. Structure number two is that a lot of our day-to-day lives, we need structure. Most of us don't have the ability to just open the fridge on a whim and be like, what sounds good? Case in point, my lunch today. It's all prepped and ready for the week because that's practical for me. That is an act of self-care. Sometimes we eat because of practicality, be it what we eat or when we eat, that is intuitive. But with this structure, we're flexible with it. It's not strict rules and it stems from self-care, not diet culture self-control. This style of intuitive eating leads to better long-term adherence compared to strict diets because it's all about flexibility and personalizing your approach to food. So there you have it. Those are the 5 most common intuitive eating misconceptions debunked. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of what intuitive eating actually is and how it can help you develop a balanced and healthy relationship with food. If you're ready to take your intuitive eating journey to the next level, you can download my app. I'll link it in the description. That will give you all of the tools, resources, and guidance that you need to personalize intuitive eating to you and allow it to finally work for you. Check it out. The link is down below. It's free to download and get started with. And as always, if you guys liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit subscribe to the channel for everything that you need to know about intuitive eating and what it actually looks like in real life in a balanced and healthy way. Thanks for hanging out with me today, friends, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.